Good evening, dear dreamers, and welcome to Whispers of the Past on the Sleepy Story. Tonight, we set aside the cares of today and drift into the sunlit shores of a Polynesian village. Around 1000 BCE, where coral reefs shimmer and the air hums with life. Picture a community where the scent of salt water and roasted breadfruit fills the air, and fishers cast nets to feed their kin. This is a place of harmony and skill, where the ocean weaves the heart of the people. Our tale follows Leilani, a young fisher in her village, whose days are filled with weaving nets and sailing lagoons. Through her eyes, we'll wander the bustling beaches, feel the rhythm of her paddle, and touch the quiet pride of nourishing her community in a vibrant world. This story is crafted to soothe your mind, to wrap you in the gentle hum of history. Whether you're here to relax or slip into a peaceful sleep, there's no rush here, no loud storms or sudden twists, just the steady rhythm of a day in Polynesia, where every catch holds a touch of care. So, find a cozy spot, let your shoulders soften, and breathe deeply as we step into a world long past but never forgotten. Let's begin. Imagine a Polynesian village at dawn, where the beaches glow under the rising sun, and the community wakes with a gentle hum. The air is warm, scented with salt water, roasted breadfruit, and the faint sweetness of coconut. Canoe makers call out, shaping wood, their voices blending with the chatter of weavers and the soft crash of waves. Amid this lively scene, a young woman named Leilani walks a quieter path. She carries a woven net, her hands dusted with sand. Leilani is a fisher, one of the village's keepers of the sea's bounty. Her thatched hut, tucked near the lagoon, is her sanctuary, filled with nets and the warm glow of a shell lamp. She has work to do. Cast nets for a trader, teach her niece, and prepare an offering for the village. But first, she must mend a net by the shore, navigating the village's bustle and her neighbors' needs. Let's follow her, step by gentle step, into the heart of ancient Polynesia. Leilani wakes in her thatched hut as the first light spills through a woven curtain, a soft glow that paints the palm walls in shades of gold. The air is warm, scented with the faint sweetness of coconut stored in wooden bowls, their surfaces smooth under her fingers. She rises from her woven mat, its fibers soft against her skin, and stretches, her movements slow, like the gentle sway of the Pacific waves nearby. The hut is simple, its posts sturdy, with shelves lined with tools, nets, hooks, paddles, each placed with care. She kneels by a low platform, its wood smoothed by years of use, and scoops a handful of roasted breadfruit from a bowl, its nutty warmth filling her senses as she chews, the taste grounding her in the new day. Outside, the village stirs. It sounds a soft hum that drifts through the curtain, children laughing, gulls calling, the distant clatter of canoe carving. Leilani checks her net, a woven flax, its fibers worn from ocean hauls. She needs to mend it, though, using fresh flax from the shore, and she gathers a bone needle, its tip sharp under her touch. The air is scented with the faint tang of salt water from the walls, and she breathes deeply, feeling the day's rhythm begin, steady and calm, like the beat of a lolly drum. She steps outside, her bare feet sinking into the warm sand, the ground soft under her toes. The sun is low, casting long shadows across the thatched huts, their roofs woven with palm, swaying in the breeze. A child runs past, chasing a stray crab, its claws clicking, and Leilani smiles, stepping aside, her net swaying gently. The air is warm now, scented with the faint sweetness of frangipani from a nearby tree. and she walks to the shore, the heart that feeds the village's fish. The beach is waking, its sands dotted with fishers mending nets and traders offering shells. Their colors bright under the dawn, white like coral, green like seaweed, blue like the sea. Villagers call out in a Proto-Polynesian tongue, their voices weaving a tapestry of sound, a gentle hum that blends with the waves' whispers. Leilani passes a familiar carver, Tene, his hands shaping a canoe, its wood gleaming in the sun. He waves, his grin wide, and she nods, her heart warmed by the village's pulse, steady and alive. The shore is a crossroads, where fish from the lagoon meets breadfruit from the groves, where elders trade tales as freely as goods. Leilani reaches the shore, the air thick with the salty scent of the sea and the sharp temps of wet flax. She kneels, her skirt brushing the sand, and weaves flax into her net, its fibers soft under her fingers. The Pacific Ocean stretches before her, its waves steady, lapping at the coral reef, tuna, mackerel, snapper glinting in the morning light. She works slowly, mending the net, the soft scent of flax rising with each knot. She thinks of Polynesia's strength, built on the ocean's gifts, and the fishers who feed its people. Her work is quiet, a small net in the village's story, but it matters. She knows, like the sea that binds the islands to the world. The sun climbs higher, warming her shoulders, and she pauses, sitting on a smooth rock. The waves hum, soothing her mind. A tern glides across the lagoon, its wings silent, its shadow dancing on the water. And Leilani watches, her heart calm, the day's rhythm steady as her breath. She remembers her grandmother, a fisher, too, who taught her the art of netting and the chance to calm a restless sea. The memory is warm, like the sun on her skin, and she hums a soft chant, its melody low, blending with the waves' whispers. The net is nearly mended, its weave tight and strong, and Leilani rises, her feet sinking slightly in the sand. She wipes her hands on her skirt, the flax dust a badge of her craft, and walks back toward the village. The beaches hum, growing louder, the air now scented with roasted breadfruit and coconut. A trader calls to her, offering a handful of shells, their luster tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on the day ahead. The beach is busier now, its sands crowded with fishers and carvers, their voices a gentle hum, like crabs scuttling in the dusk. Leilani passes an elder, her voice rising in a tale of Tangaroa, the sea god, and listens for a moment, the words like a lullaby, their rhythm steady and calm. The elder's staff hums, its tip-tapping the sand, and Leilani feels Polynesia's heart, its fish woven into every corner of the village. She continues, her feet soft on the sand, the net heavy against her side. A child runs past, kicking a coconut husk, and she steps aside, her movements slow, the day's rhythm guiding her like the waves flow. The air grows warmer, the sun bright, and Leilani feels the village's pulse, alive with labor and kinship. She passes a hut where a weaver shapes mats, their fibers gleaming under the sun, and another where a cook roasts fish, their aroma bright and fine. The beach is a tapestry, each hut a thread, and Leilani is part of it, her fishing a quiet offering to the village's life. She thinks of the trader she must meet today, his catch urgent but not impossible, and plans her haul, a net of snapper for his feast. She reaches her hut, its palm walls cool under the sun, and steps inside, the air scented with salt water. A familiar comfort. The shell lamp glows softly, casting shadows that dance on the walls, and she sets her net on the platform. She checks the weave, her hands moving with care, the soft scent of flax, a promise of bounty. She hums her grandmother's chant, its melody low, a gentle prayer for the day's work. The beach's hum is a distant song, and Leilani feels Polynesia's rhythm, steady and calm, like the Pacific's pulse, guiding her hands. Leilani stands in her hut, the morning light filtering through the curtain, casting a warm glow on her wooden platform. The air is thick with the soft scent of flax, a familiar comfort, and she checks her mended net, its weave tight under her fingers. The beach's hum drifts in, a gentle reminder of the village's life. But here, in her quiet space, she focuses on her task. A trader, Kimmo, waits by the lagoon, needing a catch for his market feast. Leilani knows his type merchants, who barter with charm, their eyes sharp but kind. She shakes her head, a soft smile on her lips, and gathers her paddle, its wood worn and steady. She slings the net over her shoulder, her hands gentle, the flax's hum soft and rhythmic, blending with the beach's hum. The net sways its promise of fish warm under her touch. She hums a fisher's chant, its melody low, a prayer for bounty and strength, and thinks of her grandmother, who cast nets for traders too, her hands steady, her chants soothing. The hut is cool, its palm walls keeping the heat at bay, and she feels the day's rhythm, steady and calm, like the waves flow. A boy appears at her door, his breath quick, his eyes wide. "Leilani, Kimmo needs you," he says, pointing toward the lagoon. She nods, securing the net, its weight familiar, and steps outside, the air warm with midday sun. The lagoon is close, its waters just steps away, and she weaves through the village, her feet soft on the sand. The beach is a tapestry of color-white coral, green seaweed, blue sea fishers calling out, their voices blending with the splash of paddles and the chatter of carvers. Kimmo's canoe is near the lagoon's edge, its hull shading sacks of breadfruit and rolls of bark cloth. He sits on a woven mat, his tunic dusted with sand, his smile wide as Leilani approaches. She kneels beside him, her hands gentle as she shows the net, its weave gleaming in the sun. "For your feast," she says, her voice soft, promising a catch by dusk. Kimmo nods, pleased, but teases her about the size, his eyes twinkling. Leilani chuckles softly, holding firm, her heart calm. The beaches hum a steady rhythm around them. They talk, their voices low, a dance of words that feels like a chant. Leilani thinks of the village's fishers, women and men, who cast nets for sustenance, their work vital to Polynesia's heart. Her grandmother's voice echoes in her mind, chanting of seas for life. She hums the same tune, its melody soft, blending with the waves' hum. Kimmo agrees to the catch, offering pearl shells in thanks, their luster heavy in his hands, and Leilani accepts, her heart calm, her net a thread in the village's trade. She walks to her canoe, the sand soft under her feet, and paddles to the lagoon, her hands steady, the soft scent of salt water rising as she works. The net casts its weave sinking into the sea, and Leilani waits, her paddle still, the hum of the waves blending with the beach's hum. She thinks of the Pacific, its reefs linking islands, and her place in it, a fisher whose hands feed kin. She feels a quiet pride, her work binding the village to the ocean, and hums her grandmother's chant, its melody low, a prayer for strength and care. The lagoon is alive, the air warm with salt and sun. Leilani pulls the net, its weight heavy with snapper, their scales glinting under the sun. She paddles back, her canoe gliding smoothly, and checks the catch, its bounty perfect. She thinks of Chemo's feast, its guests warmed by her haul, and returns to the shore. Her skirt damp, the sand warm under her feet. Back at the canoe, Leilani confirms the catch, Chemo's smile warm. She takes the shells, their weight heavy in her hands, and weaves back through the village. The waves hum a gentle wave. A fisher calls her name, offering a handful of breadfruit, its nutty scent tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on the day ahead. The village's reefs rise in the distance, their corals glowing turquoise, and she feels Polynesia's pulse, warm and alive in every step she takes. Leilani passes an elder, her voice rising in a tale of Maui, the trickster god, and listens for a moment. The words like a lullaby, their rhythm steady and calm. The elder's staff hums, its tip tapping the sand, and Leilani feels the village's heart, its fish woven into every corner of the community. She thinks of her niece, Malia, who will learn to fish, and prepares a small net for her lesson, the day unfolding gently around her. The beach's hum grows louder, fishers calling, and Leilani moves forward, her heart calm, her work a steady rhythm like the Pacific's flow. Leilani returns to her hut, the beach's hum fading, the air scented with salt water and breadfruit. The paddle waits, its wood ready, and she sets the shells aside, her hands moving with care. The soft scent of flax, a promise of bounty. She hums her grandmother's chant, its melody low, a prayer for strength and care, and thinks of Chemo, his feast enriched by her catch. The sun spills across the hut, warming the sand, and she feels ready, her heart calm, her work a steady rhythm, like the ocean that binds the village to the world. The sun climbs higher, warming Leilani's hut, its palm walls cool under the golden light. Chemo's catch is delivered, its snapper resting in his canoe, and the net hums softly, its flax worn and steady. Leilani sits on a woven mat, mending flax, the soft scent of salt water filling the air, when a soft giggle comes from the doorway. Malia, her young niece, steps inside, her eyes bright with curiosity, her small hands clutching a toy net. The beach's hum drifts in, a gentle backdrop, but here, in this quiet space, learning begins, the air scented with flax and the promise of skill. Malia sets her toy net on the mat, its fibers wobbly but loved, and Leilani inspects it, her fingers brushing over the weave, its texture rough under her touch. She nods, pleased, but points to a loose knot, teasing Malia about her haste. Nets need care, like the sea, she says, her voice soft, a smile tugging at her lips. Malia laughs, her voice light, and Leilani feels a warmth, like teaching her own daughter, the day's rhythm steady and calm, like the waves' flow. The hut is a classroom now, its walls holding the wisdom of generations. Leilani sets out strands of flax, their scents sharp and salty, and begins the lesson, her voice steady, explaining how to weave a simple net. She shows Malia how to knot, her hands moving in a slow rhythm, the soft hum of the flax blending with the beach's hum. She sings a fisher's chant, its melody low, teaching Malia the words that name each knot and its purpose. Malia repeats the chant, her voice hesitant but growing stronger, and Leilani nods, her heart full, the sunlight spilling through the curtain, casting shadows that dance on the walls. Malia tries knotting flax, her hands clumsy at first, the strands slipping from her grip. Leilani guides her, their fingers touching briefly, the flax's soft scent rising in the air. She thinks of her grandmother, who taught her the same way, her hands patient, her voice a gentle lullaby. The memory is a soft glow, like the shell lamps light. And Leilani shares it with Malia, her words a quiet story of Fisher's past. The beach's hum grows louder, fishers calling, gulls crying, but Leilani keeps the lesson calm, her voice a steady rhythm, like the waves' whispers. They move to casting a small net, a simple task for Malia's small hands. Leilani shows her how to throw, her hands precise, the soft hum of the flax rising as they work. Malia watches closely, her eyes fixed on each step, and Leilani feels the weight of her role, passing down knowledge that binds the village's fishers. The hut is quiet, save for their voices and the soft hum of the net, and the day's rhythm is steady, like the beat of a lolly guiding them forward. She hums the fisher's chant again, its melody soft, and Malia joins in, her voice blending with Leilani's, a harmony that fills the air. Leilani pauses to check the net, its weave perfect, and returns to Malia, who's practicing the chant. Her hands steadier now, the flax knotted evenly. The beach's hum is a distant song, and Leilani thinks of her grandmother, whose lessons shaped her hands, her heart. She shares another story of a fisher who fed a chief, her nets a gift to Polynesia's heart. Malia listens, her eyes wide, and Leilani feels the village's pulse, warm and alive. In their work, the sunlight shifting, the shadows lengthening across the mat. They prepare a small net, knotting flax with care, the soft scent of salt water rising as they work. Leilani shows Malia how to tighten, her hands guiding hers, the soft hum of the flax, a steady rhythm. She explains the net's purpose, how it catches fish for feasts, and Malia nods, her hands careful, her focus sharp. Leilani feels a quiet pride, her niece learning the art of fishing, a thread in the village's tapestry. The air is warm, the scent of flax strong, and she hums the fisher's chant, its melody low, a prayer for wisdom and care. Malia tries knotting, her hands hesitant, and Leilani guides her, their fingers brushing the flax. The net grows, its weave simple but strong, and Leilani nods, satisfied. She thinks of the offering waiting, its fish needing her skill. But for now, she stays with Malia, her progress a quiet joy. The beach's hum grows louder, fishers calling, and Leilani steps outside to fetch water, her wooden bowl heavy in her hands. She weaves through the crowd, her feet soft on the sand, passing stalls of shells, bark cloth, and breadfruit, their colors glowing under the sun. A fisher offers her a handful of coconut, its sweetness tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on Malia's lesson. The air is warm, scented with breadfruit and salt, and she fills her bowl at the lagoon, the water cool against her skin. She returns to the hut, the shell lamp glowing softly, and sets the bowl by the mat. Malia is nodding now, her hands steadier, the soft scent rising in the air. Leilani nods, her heart full, and continues the lesson, her voice soft, explaining how to cast nets, how to chant their bounty, the day unfolding gently around them. The sun is high, warming the hut, and Leilani pauses, her fingers brushing a flax strand, its texture soft under her nails. She thinks of her grandmother, who taught her to teach, her hands patient, her voice a gentle lullaby. The memory is a soft glow, like the lamp's light, and Leilani feels her presence, a quiet strength in her hands. She shares another story of a fisher who chanted to the sea, easing its waves, and Malia listens, her eyes bright, her hands steady. The beach's hum is a distant song, and Leilani feels Polynesia's pulse, warm and alive, in their work. The midday sun bathes the village in golden light, and Leilani's hut is warm, the air thick with the soft scent of flax. Malia is gone, her lesson done, and the net hums softly, its flax resting by the mat. Leilani sits on a woven mat, mending flax, when a neighbor calls from the doorway. An elder Hina needs fish for a village offering, their scales bright and fine. Leilani nods, her hands steady, and gathers her finest net, the soft scent of salt water rising. The beaches hum a gentle wave outside, the air scented with roasted breadfruit and coconut. She steps to the lagoon to fetch fresh bait. The sands crowded with fishers, casting nets, and traders offering bark cloth, their colors bright under the sun, white like coral, green like seaweed, blue like the sea. Fishers call out, their voices blending with the splash of paddles and the chatter of carvers, a gentle hum that wraps around her like a woven cloth. Leilani weaves through the crowd, her feet soft on the sand, her net heavy with flax, the air warm with breadfruit and salt. A trader offers her a handful of shells, their luster tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on Hina's offering. She passes a carver, his canoe gleaming under the sun, and listens for a moment. The rhythm, like a lullaby, steady and calm. The beach is a crossroads, where Polynesia's crafts meet the ocean, and Leilani is part of it, her fishing a quiet gift to its people. She reaches a bait stall, its fish piled high, and trades a small net for a basket, their scales bright like the reef. Back in her hut, Leilani prepares the net, her hands gentle, tying bait with care, the soft scent of fish rising. She checks the weave, its flax tight and strong, the air thick with the salty tang of bait. The net hums softly as she works, its fibers ready, a tool for Hina's offering. She thinks of the ceremony, its chants and dances, and the fish that will honor the gods. Her work is quiet, a small net in the village's story, but it matters, she knows, like the ocean that binds the islands to the world. Leilani casts the net in her mind, her hands moving with care, the flax knotting smoothly, the soft hum of the bait blending with the beach's hum. She forms a sacred catch, its fish bright and holy, and chants softly, her voice praising Tangaroa. She thinks of the village's elders, their voices rising in rituals, and her fish, a bridge to the divine. Her work is quiet, a small thread in the village's tapestry. But it matters, she knows, like the reefs that bind the community to the world. She hums, a fisher's chant, its melody low, a prayer for bounty and strength, and thinks of her grandmother, who fished for offerings too, her hands steady, her chants soothing. The memory is warm, like the sun on her skin, and Leilani feels her presence, a quiet strength in her hands. The net grows, its bait sacred and pure, and she nods, satisfied, the day's rhythm steady as her breath. The beach's hum drifts in, fishers calling, and she steps outside to fetch water, her wooden bowl heavy in her hands. Leilani weaves through the crowd, her feet soft on the sand, passing stalls of shells, bark cloth, and breadfruit, their colors glowing under the sun. A trader offers her a handful of coconut, its sweetness tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile. Her focus on Hina's offering, the air is warm, scented with breadfruit and salt, and she fills her bowl at the lagoon, the water cool against her skin. She returns to the hut, the shell lamp glowing softly, and sets the bowl by the mat. The net waits, its bait bright and clear, and Leilani continues, her hands moving with care, the soft hum of the flax a steady rhythm. Leilani pauses to check the net, its bait perfect, and thinks of Hina, her offering glowing with her craft, her work a quiet gift to the gods. She hums her grandmother's chant, its melody low, a prayer for strength and care, and feels the village's pulse, warm and alive, in her hands. The beach's hum grows louder, fishers calling, and she steps outside, the air warm with breadfruit and salt. She passes an elder, her voice rising in a tale of Peel, the volcano goddess, and listens for a moment. The words like a lullaby, their rhythm steady and calm. The sun is high, warming the hut, and Leilani returns, her fingers brushing a flax strand, its texture soft under her nails. She thinks of her grandmother, who taught her to fish with care, her hands patient, her voice a gentle lullaby. The memory is a soft glow, like the lamp's light, and Leilani feels her presence, a quiet strength in her hands. She adds the strand to her net, its scent bright against the weave, and checks her flax, ensuring she has enough for the day. The beach's hum is a distant song, and Leilani feels Polynesia's rhythm, steady and calm, guiding her hands. Leilani prepares the net, her hands moving with care, the flax resting by the mat, the soft hum of the bait blending with the beach's hum. She thinks of Hina, her fish a sacred gift, and feels a quiet pride, her work a thread in the village's tapestry. The sunlight spills across the hut, warming the sand, and she feels ready, her heart calm, her work a steady rhythm, like the reefs that bind the village to the world. The afternoon sun casts long shadows across the village, and Leilani sits in her hut, the air warm with the soft scent of flax. Hina's net is prepared, its bait resting by the mat, and the paddle hums softly, its wood worn and steady. Leilani mends a new net when a shadow falls across the doorway. A chief's aide, Manu, stands there, his tapa cloth marked with the chief's patterns, his voice calm but firm. The chief needs a catch for a festival, its fish abundant and fine. Leilani nods, her hands steady, and gathers her strongest net. The soft scent of salt water rising, the beaches hum a gentle wave outside. The chief's platform lies beyond the beach, its thatched roof rising like the village's tallest palms, their fronds swaying in the breeze. Leilani steps outside, her feet soft on the sand, and weaves through the sands, its shores crowded with fishers, casting nets, and traders offering bark cloth, their colors bright white like coral, green like seaweed, blue like the sea. Fishers call out, their voices blending with the splash of paddles and the chatter of carvers, a gentle hum that wraps around her like a woven cloth. She passes a weaver, her mats gleaming under the sun, and listens for a moment, the rhythm like a lullaby, steady and calm. A trader offers her a handful of breadfruit, its nutty scent tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on Manu's catch. She reaches the platform, its courtyard shaded by coconut trees, the air scented with breadfruit from a nearby hearth. Manu greets her, explaining the festival dances, chants, feasts, sand. Leilani listens, her hands gentle, sorting flax with care. She promises an abundant catch, its fish fit for the chief's honor. And Manu nods, his eyes sharp but kind, the day's rhythm guiding her like the waves' flow. Leilani returns to her canoe, the beach's hum fading, and prepares the net, her hands gentle, tying bait with care, the soft scent of fish rising. She paddles to the lagoon, her net casting smoothly, the soft hum of the waves blending with the reef's hum. She thinks of Polynesia's chiefs, their festivals uniting kin, and her catch, a bridge to their joy. Her work is quiet, a small net in the village's story, but it matters, she knows, like the ocean that binds the islands to the world. She hums a fisher's chant, its melody low, a prayer for bounty and strength, and thinks of her grandmother, who fished for chiefs too, her hands steady, her chants soothing. The memory is warm, like the sun on her skin, and Leilani feels her presence, a quiet strength in her hands. The catch grows, its fish abundant and fine, and she nods, satisfied, the day's rhythm steady as her breath. The beach's hum drifts in, fishers calling, and she steps to the shore to fetch water, her wooden bowl heavy in her hands. Leilani weaves through the crowd, her feet soft on the sand, passing stalls of shells, bark cloth, and breadfruit, their colors glowing under the sun. A trader offers her a handful of coconut, its sweetness tempting, and she shakes her head with a smile, her focus on Manu's catch. The air is warm, scented with breadfruit and salt, and she fills her bowl at the lagoon, the water cool against her skin. She returns to the canoe, the shell lamp glowing softly in her hut, and checks the net, the soft hum of the waves a steady rhythm. Leilani pauses to check the catch, its fish perfect, and thinks of Manu, his festival glowing with her craft, her work a quiet gift to the chief's honor. She hums her grandmother's chant, its melody low, a prayer for strength and care, and feels the village's pulse, warm and alive, in her hands. The beach's hum grows louder, fishers calling, and she steps to the sand, the air warm with breadfruit and salt. She passes an elder, her voice rising in a tale of Hina, the moon goddess, and listens for a moment. The words like a lullaby, their rhythm steady and calm. The sun is low, warming the hut, and Leilani returns, her fingers brushing a flax strand, its texture soft under her nails. She thinks of her grandmother, who taught her to fish with care, her hands patient, her voice a gentle lullaby. The memory is a soft glow, like the lamp's light, and Leilani feels her presence, a quiet strength in her hands. She adds the strand to her net, its scent bright against the weave, and checks her flax, ensuring she has enough for the day. The beach's hum is a distant song, and Leilani feels Polynesia's rhythm, steady and calm, guiding her hands. Leilani prepares the net, her hands moving with care, the flax resting by the mat, the soft hum of the bait blending with the beach's hum. She thinks of Manu, his catch a gift to the festival, and feels a quiet pride, her work a thread in the village's tapestry. The sunlight spills across the hut, warming the sand, and she feels ready, her heart calm, her work a steady rhythm, like the reefs that bind the village to the world. The sun dips low, casting a golden glow across the village, and Leilani sits in her hut, the air cool with the soft scent of flax. Manu's catch is prepared, its fish resting in his canoe, and the paddle is quiet, its wood still under the shell lamp's glow. Leilani sorts the last of her flax, her hands dusted with sand, and thinks of the day casting Kimo's nets, teaching Malia, preparing Hina's offering, fishing for Manu's festival. Each task is a net, she thinks, woven into Polynesia's story, her work quiet but vital. She rises, her feet soft on the sand, and steps outside, the stars sparkling above, a blanket of light over the village. Leilani walks through the quiet village, the thatched huts dark under the night sky, their palm roofs cool under her touch. The Pacific Ocean glitters in the distance, its whispers faint but steady, a lullaby for the village. She passes a communal fire, its embers glowing faintly, and hears the soft hum of an elder's chant, its melody blending with the night. The air is cool, scented with breadfruit and coconut, and she breathes deeply, her net light, her heart full. The village's pulse is slow now, its rhythm gentle, like the beat of a distant lolly. She sits on a smooth rock near her hut, the stars bright above, their light soft, like the glow of her shell lamp. Leilani thinks of her grandmother, whose chants still guide her hands, and hums one now, its melody low, a fisher's prayer for strength and care. The night is calm, the air cool against her skin, and she feels a connection to the village's fishers, their wisdom passed through generations. The village is small, its breadfruit and fish shared among kin, but Leilani's work is here, in the village's heart, feeding life one catch at a time. The stars shine brighter, their light spilling across the sky, and Leilani thinks of Malia, her niece, who will carry this knowledge forward. She imagines Kimo's feast, her snapper warming his guests, and Hina's offering her fish, glowing under torches. Manu's festival echoes in her mind, a reminder of the village's unity, and she feels a quiet pride, her work a small but vital part of that legacy. The air is scented with the faint sweetness of frangipani, a comfort from her hut, and she leans back, the rock cool under her hands, the day's rhythm steady as her breath. Leilani rises, her feet soft on the sand, and walks back to her hut, the stars a soft light above. The shell lamp flickers inside, its glow warm, and she prepares for rest, her net empty, her catches shared. The village sleeps around her, its huts silent under the stars, its beaches quiet until dawn. She lies on her woven mat, the air cool and calm, and closes her eyes, the world fading, its sounds softening, the waves' whispers, the elders' hum, the distant beat of a drum. Her work is done, her fish shared, and Leilani drifts into sleep, carried by the gentle rhythm of Polynesia's legacy. The night wraps around her, its stars a soft light through the curtain, and her hut is quiet, the scent of flax lingering, a promise of tomorrow's bounty. The Pacific flows on, its rhythm steady, and she dreams of her grandmother's chants, of the village's lagoon, of a sea where fishers cast with love. The village rests, its pulse calm, and Leilani sleeps, her hands still, her heart at peace, woven into Polynesia's story. As Leilani rests under the village's starry skies, her nets and chants woven into Polynesia's heart, we leave her to her dreams, her hands still with care. Ancient Polynesia, with its beaches, elders, and sunlit lagoons, fades into the night, but its stories live on, carried by fishers like her. Thank you for joining us on this gentle journey with the Sleepy Story. May the whispers of the ancient Pacific carry you to peace, whether you're drifting to sleep or resting in history's glow. Sleep well, dear dreamer, and we'll meet again under another sky in another time.